Good evening. Thank you for giving up your time to support your child and watch this talk. My name is Oliver Wharton and I'm the assistant head teacher in charge of the options process. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go ahead with the options evening as originally envisaged, but we hope that you're able to get as many of your questions answered as possible so you're able to support your child in making a good curriculum choice going forward. We'll be joined in this talk by our core subject staff, Mr. Smith, the English faculty leader, Mr. Fishburn, the Maths faculty leader, Mrs. Richards, the Science faculty leader, and Mr. Lillington, the assistant head teacher who's got responsibility for the school's language specialism. Each will shortly give you a brief outline of their subject at Key Stage 4, which I hope you will find informative. All students receive their options booklet before the Christmas break, and I hope you've firstly seen these, and secondly, had some opportunity to browse and discuss through them. They're an important document that hopefully helps you and students to understand the options process. However, I'm sure there are still some questions people have. The purpose of this evening is to present information that will hopefully address some of these. A version of the presentation you're about to see was shown to students in their options launch assembly in December and supports information found in the options booklet. The options process allows students to personalise their learning in preparation for the GCSE years. Prior attainment, assemblies, the option booklets, discussions with staff and events like this evening allow educated decisions to be made to ensure that all students are on the learning pathway that leads them to success in Year 11. At Prince Henry's, the majority of children are expected to study the subjects shown on the screen in Key Stage 4. The full subject shown in black will, in most cases, lead to a full GCSE qualification. As widely reported, there have been numerous changes to GCSEs over the past few years, so core faculty leaders will give you a brief overview of how their subjects work at GCSE. This will be brief. All parents will be invited to a more detailed event outlining courses and support available in these core subjects at the start of Year 10. Now I'm going to hand over to the faculty leaders.
Hi there, my name is Mr. Smith. I'm English faculty leader here at Prince Henry's Grammar School, and I'm just going to go through a couple of things with you about the English GCSEs which all students study. The first thing to be aware of is that we use the AQA exam board for both Lit and Lang. We've had this exam board in place for years and many of our staff are examiners, so we can feed back in that experience to the teaching. All students study English literature and English language, and all students have 2 GCSEs at the end of the course. Assessment is 100% examination. There are 2 exams in English language and 2 exams in English literature. In addition, we have a standalone qualification in spoken language. Just to explain about that in a bit more detail, we take it very seriously. It's a presentation that students make to a class and they're then asked questions by their teacher and other students, and it really recreates that functional skill that students need, and whether that's for an interview for college, an interview for an employment, or in later life, talking to customers in regard whether that's working in trades or whatever. These are functional skills that all students need. That's given a grade of pass, merit or distinction rather than the grades 1 to 9 that they will receive in the GCSE. Another key thing to be aware of, Key Stage 3 English is mixed ability. It's based on Education Endowment Fund research, as is our move to ability sets at Key Stage 4. But there's a caveat here. We have non-tiered entry, by which I mean any student in any set can achieve any grade. There's no foundation or higher, and we're really proud of some of our set 5 students, for example, who achieve grade 7s. So ability set number and the mix doesn't often coordinate. In other words, we'll have, say, 3 sets with different numbers, but yet the composition's the same because we have quite a thick upper middle, shall we say, of ability ranges. So that's an important thing for parents to be aware of. No tiered entry as we move into ability sets. In regards to GCSE English literature, the curriculum model that we have is that we want teachers to really harness their expertise. We all have degrees, but we'll have various areas that we're expert in, as well as matching texts to particular groups, and that's quite something which we finesse at the start of Year 10. So if a student was to have me, for example, the common strands are you would have Shakespeare, 19th century literature, modern literature and poetry, and there's choices within that. I would choose Macbeth for Shakespeare, Jekyll and Hyde 19th century literature, Lord of the Flies for modern literature, and conflict poetry for the poetry, and obviously all students will then do unseen poetry. But students will find out at the beginning of year 10, depending on their teacher, what those texts will be. So I hope that was informative. Please do contact me if there's any other information that you require, and thank you for your time.
Good evening, my name is Andy Fishburn. I'm faculty leader for maths here at Prince Henry's. Just want to discuss a few little things about GCSE maths with you. So presently we use a combination of AQA and OCR exam boards for GCSE maths. There are two tiers of entry: foundation, for which we use OCR, where students can achieve grades 1 to 5, and higher, where we use AQA, where students can achieve a grade 4 to 9. There is no coursework. Grades are awarded from the combined totals of their three exams. Each of the three exams is 1 hour, 30 minutes long. There's one non-calculator and 2 calculator papers, and that's both for higher and foundation tiers. You'll be pleased to hear that following a recent public consultation, the Department for Education and Ofqual confirmed that the recent fuller formulae and equation sheets will be provided for GCSE mathematics exams in 2025, 26 and 27. The Maths GCSE specification aims for mathematical fluency, but similar to Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3 maths, places a far greater emphasis on students' problem solving and reading skills, which they've historically struggled with. If you wish, you can see the sequencing and content of our GCSE curriculum for both tiers via our Maths Learning Journey on the students' SharePoint, which you can access via your child's iPad. We strongly advise the use of Sparks Maths alongside Corbett Maths website to help students with consolidation and revision work for their GCSE maths. And finally, to offer support at GCSE, we have Key Stage 4 drop-in help sessions every Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday lunchtimes, and revision sessions every Thursday after school. If there is anything else you'd like to know regarding GCSE maths, then please feel free to contact me at school. Thanks very much.
Good afternoon, my name is Mrs Richards. I'm the faculty leader for science, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about GCSE sciences from year 9 on. All students will study science. They will study biology, chemistry and physics. It's a compulsory subject. All students will have a specialist teacher for biology, chemistry and physics. The difference will be the pathway that they take. There are 2 pathways in science. One is separate sciences. This means that they will have biology, chemistry and physics GCSE grades at the end of year 11. If they study combined science, they will have 2 grades for science. This will be an overall grade made up from the marks from their final science exams in year 11. This will be a double grade such as 4-4, 5-6, 7-7, 8-9. We will decide at the end of year 9 whether our students will take triple science or combined science. There is some movement between groups at the end of year 10 if somebody has shown that they really are outstanding, or if they are struggling with triple science, then they can move to combined science. This only happens in a very few number of cases. All students will sit 6 exams. The difference between the combined science and the triple science course is that combined science has 1/3 less content and therefore about 1/3 less in terms of the total exam time. If you need any further questions, please do email school and we will try and get back to you. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Chris Lillington, one of the assistant head teachers, and I line manage the languages faculty, and I'm a languages teacher myself. The head of languages, our faculty leader, is Mrs. Barber. I just want to explain a little bit about the languages curriculum at Key Stage 4 and explain how it fits within the option subject. So languages for most students at Key Stage 4 are a compulsory subject. There are a small group of students who are selected to be offered an alternative programme, and those students will have MFL optional written on their booklet, and that means that those students can opt back into doing languages if you like. They can choose to do French or Spanish, the language that they currently study, but that they do not have to. The vast majority of students will continue with their first language, French or Spanish, to GCSE. And that's long been our curriculum at Prince Henry's. We think that language learning is really important as part of our global citizenship education and to build students' communication, literacy skills, their confidence and their knowledge of the wider world. And so most students will continue with their first language, French or Spanish. Why French or Spanish? Well, the reason that we insist that students continue with their first language is it's the language that students have the best level of competence in. They have most background in. They've been doing it for longest. They started it first. Students started learning languages in Year 7 with four lessons a fortnight in their first language, and they picked up then German in their second language in Year 8. Now, sometimes students say that they find German easier, and therefore they want to continue doing German rather than French or Spanish. And the situation there is that German is easier. It is much easier at the moment because, of course, the work that they're doing in Year 9 is a year behind where they're at in their first language. And therefore, the danger of students dropping their first language and just continuing with German is they've actually got further to travel to reach GCSE standard in German than they have in their first language because they've started it a year later. Therefore, we do not give the option for students to drop French or drop Spanish, if that's their first language, and just choose German. And we create our timetable in such a way that French and Spanish are the only languages being taught at that time. German is part of the option system. So, what does that mean? It means that for most students, they will continue with French or Spanish. If they are not part of that group that have to do a language, they can choose to do that, and we very much welcome those students to do so. And those students will be doing the AQA languages course in French or Spanish. And rather like English, rather like maths and science, I should say, maths and science, languages is a tiered subject, and those are the only three subjects that have a foundation and a higher tier. So that's languages, science and maths. All other subjects have a single entry. So that means for higher, students can achieve grades 4, slight margin of grade 3, but officially grade 4 up to a 9, and for foundation grades 1 up to 5. And so over those 2 years, we'll work with students to work out which is the most appropriate tier of entry for them to be most successful in the exams. The exams consist of 4 papers for languages: listening, speaking, reading and writing, and those are equally weighted 25% for each of those 4 skills, and so our course develops all 4 of those skills. And the current Year 10 are the first year group across the whole country to be sitting a brand new GCSE that's been launched just this year, which we feel is a big improvement. It's really exciting for students in terms of what it does, in terms of the level of challenge, but support that it gives, and the cultural interest. And really importantly, our staff in this department here at Prince Henry's have been involved in developing the course materials that are being used here, but across the country as well. So our students are in a really good place in terms of how well we are able to prepare them for the GCSE. Coming back to German, if students really enjoy German and would like to continue with that, we would very much encourage them to continue German as a second language and to consider choosing that as one of their 3 optional subjects. And therefore, students choosing to do French and German or Spanish and German, but German there in addition to, not instead of their first language. And the big advantage of that, it means that any sort of lost ground from Key Stage 3 or the fact that they're slightly behind, if you like, in their second language, they very quickly are able to make up for that because they've got the bonus of language learning across 2 languages. So all of those generic skills and techniques and approaches to exam work and so on are identical in both languages or across the 3 languages, if you like. If you want more information about German as an option, then Miss Rosillo is our area leader for German, and Mrs. Barber, our faculty leader for languages, can give more information to students about choosing to do German in addition to French or Spanish as one of their optional subjects. Finally, your child might be studying Chinese at the moment after school. If they are, then they may be interested to know that there's a continuation of that course in September for the whole of Year 10, where students can continue with Chinese. They don't need to choose that through the options subject. That will be launched in September. It's not taught during the school day. And also, you may have a child who has a level of competence in a home or heritage community language, such as Turkish, Russian, Portuguese, Dutch, Arabic, long list of languages that have a GCSE specification. And we're always very happy to enter students for those languages if they have the right level and to pay for their exam entry and to give them all the support we can, although accepting that we don't have the specialism or expertise to be able to give them tuition in those subjects. If you want any information about entering your child for heritage languages, home languages, I'm the person to contact, Mr. Lillington. Any other inquiries about language learning, please contact Mrs. Barber, who's the faculty leader for languages. Thank you very much for listening, and all the best with the options process.
Thanks very much to the core faculty leaders there for their contributions. With regards to the subject shown in purple, we have a statutory requirement to teach all students some form of RS, religious studies. This is via a 1 hour per week non-exam prep lesson. This covers a range of religious, philosophical, social and ethical themes that will help to prepare students for life outside of Prince Henry's. A GCSE in ethics and religion is available as a standalone option. PE ensures that students take part in regular physical activity, and PSHE, covering a wide range of topics, is taught through our terminally drop-down days as well as timetabled lessons. After the compulsory subjects, students in Year 9 then have 3 option choices from a wide range of subjects. These are designed to broaden the curriculum, the learner experience and the possible future pathways. At Prince Henry's, for the current Year 9, the options are shown on the screen. All of those shown on the screen will be examined at the end of the 2-year course in the summer of Year 11. Some of the subjects are applied awards, such as BTECs or OCR certificates. These will offer qualifications such as distinction or merit, which are equivalent to GCSE grades in their worth. These subjects have a greater proportion of their work assessed via portfolio, which is completed throughout the 2 years. The options booklet provides clear information on the difference between these qualifications. We try our best to accommodate all student choices and run every course advertised in the options booklet. However, there are occasions when selected options may not be viable. If your own experience of this process is anything like mine, you may have been forced to choose subjects from a selection of blocks, thus limiting combinations of subjects. At Prince Henry's, we give students a free selection and then construct the blocks after. This ensures we achieve a high success rate, and for the past 2 years, through this method, we have been successful in ensuring all students got their initially selected courses. If this is not possible for a student this year, we will consult with them and you about the best way forward. As you are probably aware, in recent years the government have changed GCSE grades to numerical scores on a 1 to 9 scale, with 9 being the highest. Students in current Year 9 will receive all their GCSE grades on this new scale. A grade 4 is currently seen as a standard pass and would be the most closely aligned with the old GCSE grade C that you may be more familiar with. Some students will have a clear idea of where they see themselves and should ensure they opt for subjects that support this. However, many will not have a clear final destination in mind. For this reason, we offer broad curriculum, which is designed to keep a wide range of future options open. All students will see the school's careers advisor during this half term. This will help students begin to consider their likely eventual destination and what they need to do to get there. The options process is the starting point of that journey. The English Baccalaureate, or EBacc as it's sometimes known, is not a separate qualification. It is awarded to any student who secures good GCSE passes in English, Maths, the Sciences, a modern foreign language, and either history or geography. The subjects included in the EBacc are designed to ensure that all students have the opportunity to study a broad core of subjects, ensuring that doors are not closed off to them in terms of future progression. Whilst we would encourage you to carefully consider the EBacc, this does not mean we want to restrict options to just this academic core or to force these qualifications on students for whom they are not suitable. Students have 3 option choices and only one of these is required to be used, choosing either history or geography as one of the options to ensure the EBacc can be achieved. This then still leaves 2 options open to choose other GCSEs or applied qualifications. Research from the Institute of Education has shown that studying this core of subjects provides students with greater educational opportunities and can enhance performance in other subjects. As such, the government have a long-term vision to increase take-up in these subjects and believe that they will be more highly regarded by universities and professionals. We obviously want to ensure that our students are in the best position to capitalise on this in the years ahead. Consequently, we feel it's important to offer all our students the chance to complete the EBacc. We offer all students a broad curriculum and by and large the choice to study whatever they wish. However, we will consider learning styles, student targets and predictions. If it becomes clear that students are choosing options that are likely to lead them to underperform in 2 years' time, we are likely to enter into further discussion with students and parents before confirming choices. The link to the option form will be emailed to students' school email accounts on Friday the 7th of February. We ask students to select 4 subjects with numbers 1, 2 and 3 being the main subjects they wish to study and option 4 being the backup. Students need to consider these carefully. They can do both humanities if desired. They are encouraged to avoid choosing similar subjects such as hospitality and catering and food science and nutrition. The form needs submitting by the end of morning registration on Friday the 14th of February. The option booklet gives out key information about the subjects available. More detailed information and subject and student videos about each course are available on the school website. The route to the correct page on the website is shown on the screen now. Finally, 2 key dates to be aware of. Tuesday the 11th of February is Year 9 Progress Evening and Friday the 14th of February is the options deadline day. That's the end of this half term. Students submitting forms by this deadline will have the best chance of securing the subjects they want to study. I'd like to thank you for listening. I hope that the information has been useful and helped answer any queries. We always value feedback. Towards the end of the process, parents and carers will receive a link to a questionnaire for you to complete that reviews the whole options process. We will be looking at hosting an informal drop-in session for parents and students on Wednesday the 15th of January, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m, where you can meet with subject leaders to ask any further questions relating to subject choices for your child. Please complete the form relating to this to register your interest. If you have any further queries, please feel free to contact the school via the email address info@princehenrys.co.uk. Thank you once again for listening. Goodbye.